And it's showtime! Welcome back, Internet listeners.
We're here.
This is Bill and Tana for Ravings once again. And we started talking just a little while ago about cost issues between men's products and women's products.
Yeah, charging by gender.
Yeah, it's quite ridiculous. I mean, I find it odd enough that you can't have the same size clothing for men and women.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Shoes, I think with men's shoes, it's based off of inches for the size, or at least it seems that way. It definitely, when you come to men's pants, like the waist size is so many inches, the length is so many inches, but women's, it's like a weird number for a size. And not even all clothing manufacturers make the same number, the same size.
Yeah, no, it's the one size I wear from one store is like 3 sizes bigger or smaller than another store.
Yeah, what the hell is that all about?
I have no idea. But yeah, I tend to go to the ones with a smaller size that make me feel skinnier.
Well,
which is a feminine thing to do, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there are some men that care about that kind of thing. I don't give a shit.
I don't know, but like I know those guys that wear those sports jerseys that have like 4X written right across it. They don't care.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm a big boy.
I'm fat.
But yeah, what's up with them charging extra for women's products? I don't mean menstrual products necessarily. Guys don't usually buy those.
Well, no, not unless you're in for some kind of survival gear, but
right.
Even
but like
then,
shaving cream.
Yeah, I mean, women's shaving cream is ridiculously priced. And I pay like 99 cents for a can of shaving cream.
I buy the gentleman one as well.
I don't blame you. It does the same thing. You always see the advertisement. It's gonna soften the beard and it's better for the skin and bullshit. It's there so I don't lose my place.
Well, yeah, I shave my legs with soap or shampoo or body wash or whatever I happen to have laying around. So I mean, the man's shaving cream is an improvement, really.
Really? Yeah,
it's better than what I usually use.
I've used soap and water before, like when I'm camping.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier than lugging around a can that might explode in your
bag.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't blame you. That would be awesome, though, if it exploded in your car.
Well, I've done that before. That's a terrible thing. Do not do this, but I'll tell you how it's done. You take a can of shaving cream and you put it in the freezer for like 3 days.
Okay.
Freezes completely solid, and then you go out on a hot day, take a can opener to it, and pop it open, or just bust a hole in the side of it and put it in somebody's car, and as it thaws overnight, it'll expand throughout the entire car.
Nice!
It's insane, but you will go to jail if you're caught, so don't do that.
Wow. It's kind of like the putting bologna on someone's paint job in their car.
Oh, yeah, it eats right through the paint.
And you have all those perfectly round circles where the bologna once was.
Practical jokes. God, there were so many that I used to do when I was a kid, like TVing and other things, that are just plain vandalism and would get you put in jail right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the 30 days leading up to Halloween, the practical joke every night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good times. We would totally be incarcerated.
Well, luckily, the place I was growing up in when I was a teenager, they didn't have an actual police force. They had, like, volunteer civil patrol that couldn't really arrest you or anything. They couldn't even necessarily hold you there. They would just kind of tell you had to stay put until the police showed up.
Nowadays, the neighborhood watch will shoot you.
No kidding. Everybody will shoot you nowadays.
Well, like that poor kid that was walking back from the gas station buying candy and that iced tea a few months back in Florida that got shot by that guy. It's still in the news. Yeah, that guy's still doing...
He was like some wannabe vigilante.
Yeah, but yeah, he's just supposed to be part of like the neighborhood watch program.
Wearing a hoodie, he looked dangerous.
Yeah.
That's a kid.
Yeah, that kid's first name was Trayvon. I don't remember.
Yeah, Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
That was his name. I remember that. That was... Yeah, fuck the perpetrator. Don't give him any...
Yeah, I don't recall who the perpetrator's name was.
I don't care to look it up. If you want to see it, that's up to you.
But yeah, that young man, all he was doing was going to get a snack and coming back home, and he got shot to death.
Yeah, that's... And...
But that's because that dude was masculine. He's macho.
Yeah.
The assailant.
I'm a big tough guy. That's why I carry a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, you're so... And I love... I'm not all that big on hip-hop culture and shit. I think it perpetrates a negative stereotype through all of the communities who follow it. White, black, Asian, whatever.
Right.
But the movie Friday, the original one...
I've never still seen that.
Really?
To this day, I've never
seen it. I haven't
watched
watched any of the others, but that one had a great message at the end. His dad tells him at one... Or not at the end, but it led up to it being useful. His dad caught him with a gun.
Oh, okay.
And tells him, that doesn't make you a man. He holds up his fist. He's like, when you can use this, then you're a man. And, of course, the ending of the story, spoiler alert, he actually takes the big bully and beats the shit out of him with his bare hands rather than pulling a gun on him like you planned to.
Well, and I would say that out of the two choices, hand-to-hand combat or weapon combat, I suppose it would be more manly to engage in hand-to-hand combat, but combat is still violence. So is it masculine to be violent? I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you go back to like our hunter-gatherer past, yeah, you had to be.
Oh hell yeah! I would have picked the biggest, beefiest motherfucker there. I'd be like, that's the one I want. The one that's going to be able to kill that wildebeest to feed me and shit and defend me.
Well, that's growing up, being a young fat white boy in a poor black neighborhood when I was growing up.
Yeah.
That's why I had to start studying martial arts, and that's really why I got into it, so I could stop being a victim.
Right.
And unfortunately, the places I went, they kind of taught you to become the aggressor instead.
Sweep the leg!
Yeah, sweep the leg, Johnny! Sweep the leg! But,
that's the first thing I thought of.
As I got out of that school and I went into other martial arts throughout my life, you kind of get to a point where you don't care to even tell anybody that you could possibly kick their ass. It's not that important anymore.
Right.
It's kind of a useless tool. And nowadays with, the popularity of MMA, mixed martial arts, for those who don't know. Did you
see the glazed look and that's why you explained? I'm like, what?
There are so many people out there that have training of some sort or another, and you never know what anybody's studied.
No.
It's better to just never start a fight with anyone.
Yeah, I don't physically fight. I have offered to a few times when someone came up on me, but it's never come to that point where, I guess I talk crazy now that they think I must know what I'm doing, but I really don't.
Yeah, it's never been that whole crazy talk, getting all...
No, not like that. I'm just like, all right, I mean, if we're going to fucking fight, let me put my shit down, because I'm not going to try to hit you with this notebook in my hand.
Yeah, I love... Technically, if you just put your hand on somebody's shoulder and they don't want you to, it's an assault.
Oh, really?
And I've had people tell me that before. Like, I put my hand on their chest and try to push them back from a fight. People I don't know and just tell them to calm down.
Right.
You got your hand on me, man. That's assault. I'll call the fucking cops. Really?
Wow.
Well, if I'm going to be charged with an assault, do you want me to show you what one feels like?
Right.
Because I'm going to earn it before I go to jail.
Yeah. I'll give you something to cry about.
Exactly. It's the equivalent of using it on another adult.
That's awesome. But yeah, that's true though about the machismo mentality, especially during the hunter-gatherer times, and even up until more recent times when, but even combat, like actual war combat, has changed, where there's not as much on the ground combat as there was.
It does still take place, but it's not nearly as much, especially with like our drone fights and.
Right. Well, yeah, they like drop
vehicles. Yeah.
Right. They drop a bomb from like 6 billion miles away.
Some kid in your neighborhood playing a video game doesn't even realize he's dropping bombs on real life human beings.
Like that movie from the 80s, War Games.
War Games.
I love that movie.
Would you like to play a game? Thermonuclear warfare.
Yeah, that was an awesome one. But yeah, but the way that men view what their roles are supposed to be and women view what their roles are supposed to be is what gender roles are.
It is, and it gets so blurred nowadays. I mean, guys who are not necessarily acting aggressive, but just having a larger build or a gruff, deeper voice.
Yeah.
Trust me, I get this shit all the time. People think I'm yelling at them when I'm not. Trust me. If I'm yelling, you'll know.
Right.
But it's kind of shunned nowadays, and it's the more effeminate men that are seen as normal.
I have to agree with that, though. I am more interested in guys who are more nurturing than I am guys who are, like, aggressive. I don't want to have my own ass beat. I have no desire to be in a situation where I'm going to be beaten by a guy. I will always pick a guy I think I can take in a fight. If I have to, I will take you down.
Well, I guess it's good to be like that because there are a lot of guys who get, they get to where they're working out on a regular basis and getting in really good shape, and they've learned some sort of hand-to-hand combat. And then they turn around and use it to beat their wife and kids. Because, well, I've got all these skills, but I'm afraid to use it on people who know what they're doing.
Exactly. But
I'm really a big pussy. Don't hurt me.
Right. I'm only going to beat up people who are smaller and more defenseless than I.
Yeah. Well, when my wife and I first got together, I started teaching her a little bit of hand-to-hand just for self-defense.
Right.
And I said, hey, if things don't work out between us, at least any guy you ever got into a relationship with is not going to hit you because you can block it and jack him up and get out of the way anytime you need.
Well, but that's something that I was taught by my mom ever since I was little is that if someone tries to come at you, if you can't hit them right then, wait for a time when you can and beat them down and then call the law. Or, and she always said pick up the biggest, heaviest thing near you and whack them in the face with it because chances are it's not going to keep hitting you after you beat them down to the ground. And that's what she told me.
That's a good point.
And she said, and she never advocated starting a fight, and I've actually never been in a fight because I've never needed to. But in the event I need to defend myself, she said, take them out and make sure they can't get up.
Yeah, that's one thing. There's no such thing as a fair fight.
There's
The
not.
whole point of a fight is to put the aggressor on the ground and keep them there until they decide they don't want to fight anymore.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that to somebody who's going to cause you bodily harm.
Right.
The problem comes when people are well trained, they know how to handle themselves, and they just don't have any common sense. They want to go out and get aggressive about everything. Oh, you scuffed my shoe.
Oh, yeah. You cut me off in traffic.
Yeah, you cut me off in traffic is the worst. What did I do? I caused you maybe a tenth of a second out of your day because now you've got to slow down a little bit.
Right.
Tough shit.
Right, or you stole my parking space in the parking lot.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen, like, at Aquarium one time in the city, I saw a fist fight break out over two gentlemen that one family was trying to park and swipe the other one's parking space. And the two grown men got into a physical brawl in the parking lot of an aquarium. It's like their kids are there.
Yeah. That's the worst one, when you've got people who have got their children with them and they're wanting to get into a fight.
Yeah.
And I've backed down a lot of people just getting up close and staying as calm as I am right now and saying, you don't need your children to see what I'm going to do to you.
Right. Well,
walk away now.
But, and think of the circumstances when you've happened upon someone beating on a woman in a parking lot, like at a bar or a tavern.
The only time I've ever gotten in a fight as an adult.
Yeah.
I hate watching that shit. I can't stand it. I'll jump in the way every time.
Yeah.
But sometimes the woman's crazy too, and
that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
You stay away from my man. It's like, what are you talking about?
He loves me.
I was just keeping him from beating your ass.
Yeah.
In case you wanted to get away.
Sorry, I was trying to keep you alive. I didn't realize you wanted him to beat you. By all means, pull up the belt and hit her again.
Right? It's crazy. But yeah, that's. I don't even know really what to say about that because I've happened upon that myself, where someone became angry that you tried to intervene when they were getting hurt.
Right. Yeah, some people, our whole culture has kind of gone psychotic. It's weird because we've got this odd balance between, like, the most intelligent people that have ever existed inventing the coolest fucking technology and making things that are just science fiction-esque in nature.
Right.
And then we've got people that are so dumb, I've seen boxes of rocks come up with better ideas.
But it's true.
It is. It's a horrible, horrible situation. But it's comical at the same time.
Comical in a sad sort of way.
Yeah, it's a very dark comedy.
Yeah.
Kind of like something from the Coen brothers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know, but it's absolutely true, but it doesn't make any sense why, and I'm not saying that anyone would choose to want to be in a situation like that, but why you would get so angry when someone tries to intervene on your behalf. Like, and it's obvious you're being harmed. It's not like it was a misunderstanding. I saw you get punched in the face by that dude. It's not like that was a misunderstanding. Right. It wasn't like a squabble I interrupted. I mean, there was like you got jacked in the face. There was a situation of ruin.
Someone twice your size
right.
repeatedly, and you have no other defense than me happening upon the scene.
Right.
But now you're mad at me for stopping him from killing you.
Yeah.
Have at it. Go home and beat each other. Don't do it in public.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that, and I'm still going to step in the way even if she might be crazy too.
Well, when I was in school, when I was in grad school, I had to go and observe court cases for part of my education. I was doing papers and stuff on them. And one of the cases I had to go to a trial, and it was a trial of a guy who had gotten arrested for beating up his wife. And they had like a 5 or 6 year old little boy, and they lived in a trailer court in town. And what occurred was they had been smoking crack together. No joke, they'd been smoking crack. I tried not to laugh, but they were smoking crack together. And then, and this is all what came out during the trial. I obviously didn't know any of this going into it, but they had been smoking crack together and got all high. Then after they had come down from being high, because apparently the high, the buzzy feeling lasts for quite a while, and then you get really tired. And so they crashed, and then she was tired, so she was trying to fall asleep, like on the couch, and he wanted to have intercourse. She didn't want to have intercourse, and so then he got mad and grabbed the lamp and hit her in the head with it. But it caused I know you're laughing because it sounds comical, but it's actually not. It's horrible. But this lady had a gash on the back of her head from where he whacked her with the lamp. And then 4 days later, they were going somewhere in the car and got pulled over because he ran a red light. But it's not like he was speeding, ran a red light, he should have stopped and didn't kind of thing. And so they got pulled over just by happenstance, and her head was still bleeding.
Days later?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was seeping and bleeding, and so they took her to the emergency room because they're like, man, what happened to you? And she's like, oh, nothing. I ran into a light post or whatever the excuses people use.
I walked into a door.
Right. I fell down the stairs on the back of my skull. And so then they took her to the emergency room, and she got treatment and everything, got medical help. And so then it comes to trial time for this guy, and he did not see anything wrong with what he did. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have hit her, but if she would have wanted to fuck, it wouldn't have been an issue. And so the fight would have never happened. I wouldn't have had to hit her. And then she's just begging for him to get let out. Well, what about our kid? How are we going to pay for groceries? He's beating you, and you both are smoking crack in front of your kid. I mean, is really his work, being able to work, the most important part of this whole story? You're smoking crack in front of your kid, and it's just fucked up. And then he's beating you because you don't want to have sex. But no, it's obvious he needs to be out so he can go to work.
Yeah, no kidding.
What the fuck?
The whole jump into anger thing, just, I had that issue when I was younger. I mean, I really wanted to prove myself, and so I used to go and get in the small-time MMA conferences where, I'd go and actually fight in bars.
Oh, okay.
Where they held those competitions, but I got over
like Wolverine. Nice!
Don't hit him in the nuts and take it personal. But I got over that. I mean, I put aside that anger stuff a long time ago. And now I cannot for the life of me fathom what goes on in someone's head that just because you're not getting exactly what you wanted, you don't even think about the other person having their own mind and their own interests. You just get so pissed off you'll go straight to anger. Or even just yelling and saying horrible things to someone you're supposed to love.
Right.
I don't understand what the hell's the matter with people anymore.
Well, I used to be an angry person when I was a youngster, too. I tend not to be now, but on occasion still fuck up and, resort to anger. I have come a long way. I don't throw things. I don't act a fool in public. I'm like, I just need to go home because I'm going to fucking flip out.
Don't start tripping.
Right. Girl, don't trip. What's up? Yeah, I used to be crazy. I don't want to be crazy. So I try not to act like that anymore. But it's embarrassing to have people view you, and then you're like, oh god, I know I'm like an asshole, but I'm incapable of controlling myself at this moment. And it's horribly embarrassing, but you'd think these people that do that on a daily basis would be horrified looking at themselves. Like, how do you go in public knowing that everybody just saw you act like that? Saw you beat up your wife, saw you scream at your kid. Like those people that live behind me that scream at their two sons all the time. I feel terrible for those kids. But it's not considered abuse. You can talk to your kids in any way you want to. They will not do anything. They will never come and take your kids away for screaming that they're, little motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And, you go to hell, you little bastards. They can say that all day.
It's a form of physical discipline, though, and you're going to jail.
Right, but I hear these people say horrible things to their sons. And not just them. You hear it, people just speak terribly. That people are horrible to each other.
Yeah, more and more, too. I mean, it's always been that way throughout all of human history, that people are horrible cunts. And we've talked about wars and ancient history and the rise and fall of empires based on cunts being cunts. Right. But yeah, it's so. But it's over everything. It's over everything, and it's so in your face now with the way televised media is horrible for showing that kind of stuff. The news. Yeah. Oh yeah. They always want to show you this is what's wrong with the world today, and it's probably coming to your house soon. Right. So yeah, lock your doors, get your kids inside. Lock the doors, buy a gun, be afraid, get your bug out bag ready, and follow the preppers. Right. Because your neighbors are all crazy. They are. But we've all got that mentality though from watching that shit for so long that we think the only thing keeping us all together is the fear of going into a cage. Mm-hmm. I mean, go and talk to people around you. Not everybody is going to turn into a psychotic murderer and rapist just because the law says they can now. Well, most people are not angry people. No. Most people are not mean people. Most people are not dishonest. Most people don't steal things. Most people, fill in the blank of illegal activity. Most people are not doing whatever that is. It's not most people. It's a select group of people that fuck up everything for everybody. It's the bad apple thing. A few bad apples ruin the whole bunch. And then you see one bad apple in this bushel and you're like, fuck all these apples, I'm throwing them all away. And who does that? Everybody but the freaking. Right? I'm like, wow, there's a bad apple here. I'll throw away this one and the one it was touching, but I'm going to eat the rest. Yeah, that's right. That poor one it was just touching, it did nothing wrong. It was just sitting near the gross. Yeah, I mean, I always think it's really good idea for people to learn some hand-to-hand combat, to follow some form of martial art, not necessarily to become that badass you've seen in the hero movies and action flicks, because trust me, one guy against 100 is dead almost every time. Well, yeah, I would say so. Even Bruce Lee would have been fucking killed in most of his movies had they been based in reality. He could almost fly. He was a badass, though. I love Bruce Lee. Yeah. I studied Jeet Kune Do. That was a martial art that he invented. Okay. He was the world's greatest badass, and I think probably still would be if he were alive. Not next to Walker, Texas Ranger. Come on. There was a movie where he beat the shit out of Chuck Norris. I saw it. That is true. I forgot about that. Long time ago. Chuck's an old dude, but still, he's still a badass too. He is. But the thing is, because he trained in martial arts and he does it on a regular basis, he keeps his body healthy. Mm-hmm. He keeps a good body-mind connection. Mm-hmm. And when you're exercising and doing things like that all the time, you release a significant amount of anger.
Oh, yeah.
You get rid of all that excess testosterone that would probably cause you to beat your wife, your kids, or just get into a fist fight over somebody taking a parking spot
right.
that wasn't really yours to begin with.
I don't even think that that's natural, though. I don't think that men are naturally aggressive in that way.
I think it's because of how lazy we've become.
Possibly so, because, the body's not exercised at all.
Yeah, I mean, compared to a hunter-gatherer society where you've got to go out every day and march around and find the things that you need, not even for that long, maybe only a 2 or 3 hour stretch, because most hunter-gatherer societies, they'd work about 15 hours a week to gather everything they needed, food, shelter, supplies, and the rest of the time was spent building the ties in your community. But you were burning off that excess testosterone and energy all the time.
Right, that's
true.
You're
staying in better shape, you're healthier people all around. Now we just sit on our asses, play video games, eat junk food, and then get pissed off when somebody cuts us off in traffic because we didn't plan enough travel time.
Right. Well, and going back to the self-defense classes, I was just thinking about that while you were talking, and they are almost always exclusively targeted for females. That women should go and learn self-defense, but when you were a young person, you were victimized because you were a young person in a neighborhood and you were just stuck out like a sore thumb.
I was the only white kid there.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just stuck out like a sore thumb, and so you got picked on, and just like other kids in other neighborhoods or whatever, but it's not just girls that are victimized, but if you teach boys to defend themselves, would they be more likely to be aggressive? I don't know.
Not necessarily.
Maybe how they're taught.
It depends on who's allowed to run the school.
Okay.
Because if you go to a place that I've always called the belt academies, where they're just pumping people through and teaching them enough to effectively fight against somebody, but not teaching them any mental discipline.
And that's the most important part.
You have to have somebody who's teaching discipline, who's teaching you to be a good person as well as learning how to move in this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you just allow people to teach you how to throw punches and kicks and hurt somebody in the worst possible way, and then you release them into the world, that's a danger. You just turn somebody into a killing machine.
Well, and that's kind of what the women's self-defense classes are like, though. It's only a one-night thing. Like at the Y, you go for 2 or 3 hours.
Kick 'em in the nuts and run.
Right, you kick them in the nuts and run, or with the little poke them in the eye with your fingertips thing, or snatch an ear, whatever. But that cannot possibly be enough time to actually teach you how to actually defend yourself or how to watch your environment. Because there's some women, and some men too, that have not ever been taught any of those skills. They don't know anything about defending themselves or watching the world around them.
True.
And so you put them in a class for 3 hours, and then they think they know how to take care of themselves.
I walked out of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu place when we lived down in the Indianapolis area. I want to learn jiu-jitsu at some point. I studied little bits and pieces of it here and there, but I went into this dojo, and the guy comes up and he's talking to me about how he runs like a military-style class.
Like the guy in Napoleon Dynamite?
Kind of, but he literally tells me, after one class with me, you can get into a fight with anybody and kick their ass.
What?
And I laughed. I'm like,
that's definitely not where you want to learn your skills from.
Are you freaking kidding me, dude? I could stomp the shit out of you right here and now, and you have no idea. Not going to, because I'm a better person than that.
Right.
But still, if that's the mentality of the person teaching,
then
what's the mentality of these people that are coming out of his class?
Yeah, they're going to be exactly the same way. What could you possibly expect from them?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
It's a terrible thing, and I wish that there were more places that were widespread with honorable individuals teaching.
Well, why isn't there some kind of, I'm sure there's a business license or something required for that, but why isn't there some kind of license that, to prove you actually know the mental aspects behind martial arts training versus just the physical?
I honestly don't know what it takes to put together your own dojo and become a teacher.
I really don't know.
I don't know what kind of guidelines there are, so I couldn't tell you.
If anybody out there knows, please hit me up and let me know about that.
Yeah, send us something on Facebook or Twitter and let us know what's going on with it.
Yeah, because it does seem like, though, that it's just about the physical aspect of this. You do these push-ups so you can build up your upper body strength so you can punch people or punch from this angle or whatever, kick in this way. But there is very little time spent on inner self-development.
And that's a lot of the classes that are available in the U.S., which is, and I'm sure it's like that all over the world, too. It's probably not just an American problem.
Mm-hmm.
I just see it as more of an American problem because I'm subject to American media on a regular basis.
Well, like those Brazilian kickboxing classes and stuff that they have that you see commercials for on TV, that doesn't look like there's a whole lot of interpersonal training for the self.
No, and a lot of those classes, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Taibo, things of that nature. It's just showing you a good cardio workout
right,
while developing your body in that way.
Well, like doing stripper classes doesn't make you a stripper.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, you can do stripper classes all day, and you're probably not going to have the same moves that a real stripper would have because they've been practicing and doing it, for real for a long time.
I mean, don't get me wrong. People who do Tae Bo on a regular basis, and I've tried it. It's a rough
workout. It fucking is. It is. I kick my own ass with that shit.
I'm joking around one day. I'm like, a black man tried to kill me. His name's Billy Blank, so he's causing cardiac arrest.
I mean, even Pilates kicks my ass. So there you go.
Good. You need that, though. I mean, at least once or twice a week, you've got to just be worn out.
Yeah, you do.
If you don't do that, you're not healthy.
Right. Well, your body actually needs to be used, whether you have a boy body or a girl body.
Part of it.
Well, and
including the brain.
But think of a lot of the females that where their goal is to just be thin, not physically fit.
Right.
They have no desire to actually be. Oh no, I can't work out because I'll build muscle. And I won't be as skinny looking. What are you talking about? You need your heart to be working. It doesn't matter if your waist is, 12 inches. I mean, that's ungodly small for a waist. But if your waist is 12 inches and you can't lift your head up because your muscles are so weak, then no one's going to think you're hot. But the chicks that work out, they look good.
Yeah, sometimes. Because some of them look sickly because that cause too much starvation in their diet.
Well, yeah. Well, there is.
You got to be well educated in what you're doing.
Well, there's a thing called body dysmorphia where you can see your body in a different way than it actually appears to other people. Like you can look at yourself and think you are a giant hoss when you actually look awesome, and you will never believe that you look awesome. So you will continue to starve yourself and work out 100 times a day, and it's sick. It's very sad, but it's a treatable illness. So if you have that, go to the doctor.
Yeah, I think I have that, because even though I've got a gut, I'll look in the mirror and be like, looking good, dude.
I know, right? I do something like, man, I look good. Yeah, I've got the non-problematic body dysmorphia. I think I look awesome.
It doesn't matter what I do. I still look fantastic.
Right.
I used to tell myself that when I was 60 pounds heavier than this.
I know, right? Me too.
But, yeah, I can understand that. But, like I was saying, I mean, every part of you needs to be worked out. I mean, if you don't, by the time you're in your mid-30s, you're going to have all kinds of muscle issues, back problems.
Neck problems.
Yeah, you've got to get good stretches. You've got to get out there and just build up your heart rate on a regular basis so that you're not going to sit down and die of a heart attack at 50 from all the shit you've been pouring down.
Well, even 25. There's kids 25 dropping dead.
Oh, yeah. I've seen stories with high school kids. They have to run around the track in high school gym class, and then they drop dead of a heart attack because they're not used to exercise.
Right. Well, but think of some of the kids that they sit inside and play video games all day. Yeah, playing video hockey or video football, that's not a sport.
No, not at all.
That's not going to work you out at all. And even if you're playing it on that one game system where you can stand in front of the TV and it can map your movements.
Well, most of the game systems are good.
Well, yeah, that's true. But even if you're playing one of those interactive games, it's really not a workout. It's really not. No. Like, unless you are going to do that for hours straight.
I never tried that Wii Fit thing. I mean, that might have some good benefits.
Yeah, well, it's better than the other video games, I'm sure, but still.
Yeah, I mean,
get outside.
Get outside, enjoy nature. Look around the world. Nature is full of millions of wonderful things that you probably step on while you're playing with your phone.
Yeah, it's true though. Get the hell outside and work out your body, because even like your muscles, that's important for that too. But even things you wouldn't think of, like you're being able to sleep at night. If you have trouble sleeping, it may be because your body's not getting worked out enough during the day. If you have trouble with digestion, it could be because your body's not moving around enough. It's like if you take a dog for a walk, almost every time they take a dump. Do you know why that is? Because their muscles are moving.
Exactly.
So your body needs to be moving too, so you can take a good dump.
Every time I do core workout.
Right? I got to go drop a deuce massive style.
Sit-ups and I'm taking a break.
Yeah. But it's true. It helps every aspect of your life.
It does. And you get a lot more mental clarity because you've used the body the way it's supposed to. And when you're doing that, your mind is actually focusing in on what's happening to your body. You become more self-aware. All around, it's a much better lifestyle.
It is.
And you've got to get away from that idea of all the people who work out are just stupid jocks. Not necessarily.
I used to be that person.
Yeah, I used to think that way too, because a lot of the people I knew that were in great shape were stupid assholes.
Right.
All they cared about was working out. They didn't do anything else. They don't exercise the meat between their ears.
But yeah, I used to be one of those like super judgmental people about people who worked out, and I would mock them secretly in my mind, be like, okay, head back to the gym. But yet now I understand the value of it, and maybe if someone had actually instilled that in me instead of just forcing you to run a gym class by explaining to you why you should.
That was a big issue in my gym class. They never explained why you were doing anything. It was just you have to do this.
Well, now
Schwarzenegger and Bush said so.
Right.
Presidential fitness class.
Yeah, your presidential fitness challenge or whatever it is. But yeah, But now a lot of the school systems only require PE for freshmen in high school. They don't require it for the rest of the juniors, sophomores.
Freshman and sophomore when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years, and then you didn't have to take it anymore.
Yeah, and what your body just suddenly just coasts on its own for the rest of high school, or what?
Well,
and then in college, there's no PE required.
Right. Another thing that bothered me though was if a kid was fat, he could get a doctor's note and get out of going to gym class. And I thought, that's the person that needs it more than everybody.
Well, like the young ladies in my swimming class when I was in school, if you were on your period, you didn't have to swim. You could get a note from your mom or whatever that said you're on your period, and you didn't have to swim. Some of those girls had like 4-month-long rags. I mean, no joke. They didn't swim at all. How is that? And maybe they legitimately had some kind of medical thing going on. I didn't ask, but my God. I know a girl in
high school that had that issue.
But my God. Then get thyself to the doctor quick. But yeah, but your body needs to be exercised, and even if you are having your cycle, you can still swim. It's cool. It's fine. It's not going to hurt you.
There are no sharks in the school pool. You're going to be okay.
Wear a black bathing suit. It's fine. Nobody will know.
They were all black when I was in high school.
Mine too. Yeah, except the guys had to wear the Speedos and the girls had to wear those, like, I don't know, mom dress bathing suits that almost fell off.
They come down to the knee.
Yeah, damn near. But the guys wore, like, tiny Speedos.
Yeah, I always hated wearing those things. I always brought my own swim trunks.
Well, like, that just made me remember actual gym class. Why were the girls' shorts so little and the guys' shorts went to their knees? Why couldn't I wear the shorts that covered your fucking cooch? Why can't I have the long shorts too?
You know why? Go online and
gender inequality.
Go online and just type that question into Google, and you will find many, many pictures of men in those little athletic shorts with their nuts hanging out the bottom.
Well,
every time they sit down.
But why can't both genders wear the longer shorts? Why are the girls wearing the ones that their butt cheeks hang out?
I don't know. I guess to get the guys motivated to chase them around the track. I have no clue.
But isn't that weird?
It is.
It never really occurred to me before, but that is really strange. I mean, what? Am I going to get more warm and I have to wear less clothes or what? What's going on here?
Your center of gravity is near your hips, and that area is going to get nice and warm, and that'll heat up your legs.
Right. But yeah, then let's meet in the middle somewhere, guys.
Yeah. No, I used to not like those long shorts. I thought they looked kind of goofy, but almost all of the shorts I buy for working out nowadays, they all come down at least knee length. Mm-hmm. They're comfortable, and they all breathe really well nowadays.
Yeah.
We've come a long way in our fabric development. Now all we've got to do is take it out of the hands of tiny Asian children and put it into American manufacturing.
Right. And when you buy your socks at Wick, same thing.
Yeah. Well, those are expensive, and I'm not
spending that much money. Well, and see, that's the thing is that you can buy athletic socks or what they say on the package is athletic socks, but I had a friend of mine explain to me that in order for socks to actually be good quality wicking socks, they have to have as little cotton in them as possible. Because cotton stays warm and stays moist, and your foot will just stay wet the whole time, hot and wet the whole time.
That makes sense.
So if you get something with polyester or rayon or whatever, and you can get them even at the dollar store. You just have to know where to go around and look. And you just look for the ones that have the lowest amount of cotton possible, and they're wicking them.
I'll have to check it out.
So, and just because they say athletic sock doesn't mean anything. They can still be 100% cotton.
Because I know if I go out running or anything during this, even biking, if I get up and do like a 25-mile bike ride, and I'm kicking it out in the shortest period of time possible, I am just sweating head to toe.
Oh, yeah.
My shoes stink so bad in the summertime.
It's shoes that stink, not feet. Exactly.
I remember that post. My feet smell like dirty shoes.
Exactly. It's not my feet that stink ever. It's the shoes.
That's awesome.
But you're absolutely right, though. If you work out, your feet will be soaking wet. And so you've got to, whenever a person can afford to, you got to invest in some decent socks. But you only really need one pair.
That's true.
You can wash them out in the sink.
You can wash them every day for a daily workout. I really want to try out those Kevlar socks that I saw, the ones with the toes.
Oh, those do look really nice.
Those look so awesome, and I want to be able to run outside without shit on my feet and not fear stepping on dirty needles and other things that are going to stab me.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder how those, is that enough cushion for the impact of the bottom of your foot? I have no idea. I would be interested in finding out, though.
If you're not necessarily on concrete, which is a completely unnatural substance for us to walk on, if you're going through dirty, like dirt and forest areas, you should be fine.
I would think so, yeah. Because it's padded. The grass and the dirt and everything is padded somewhat. Right. But that's true, though. People are not meant to run on concrete. And with walking your dog, people don't think of it. You should not force your dog to walk on concrete. It burns the bottom of their feet.
Right.
In the summertime. So if your dog wants to walk in the grass,
and in the wintertime, the salt, that just melts right through their flesh. That's a terrible thing.
Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and that's something people don't think about is that concrete is not really something that exists in nature. We just put it on everything. Heat up the Earth's core that way. It's nice.
It always cracks me up when people bitch about, well, those people over there are littering. Look around you. A city is litter. It's going to take forever for that shit to break down.
Oh, I know. It's really is horrifying to me to look out over the cityscape and see all the buildings, and it's like, and then you look out and you can't even see a star anywhere, miles around, because the lights are too much. There's too much light pollution.
I got a friend that's getting ready to move to Colorado, and he was telling me all the different reasons that he's going. And of course, dispensaries were a big one. But and I thought that was funny. But he also mentioned, the whole state has laws over how high you can make buildings, billboard signs, and things because you cannot block out the view of the mountains in the distance.
Oh, I did not know that.
That is awesome. Why don't more people do that?
Yeah.
I want to be able to see trees everywhere. Stop making your signs bigger than the trees.
Well, I mean, hell, at this point, I'd be happy if they just stopped putting the sign out where you can see around the sign to look into traffic.
Yeah, no kidding. They keep putting up those damn billboard signs that are like big television sets.
Oh, yeah.
Keep changing and moving around. How many accidents are being caused by that distracting crap?
I agree. I've wondered that myself. Well, and the other day I was driving somewhere and nearly wrecked my car because a radio commercial came on. And it had like this really loud siren, scary sound. And I jerked the wheel really quick when it emitted from the speakers because I thought it was something behind me.
It should be illegal to put siren sounds.
Yeah.
Anything that plays on the radio.
Right, because I jerked the wheel thinking that there was like, I don't know, the militia behind me or something. And I need to pull over really fast. And it was just the radio, but I scared the shit out of myself with that damn thing. It's ridiculous. There should be some kind of law against it.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that in a commercial, and I'm staring out every mirror I've got. I'm like, where the hell is it coming from? I know they're coming. I can hear them real close. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because I'm a woman driver. That's one of those stereotype things, those gender stereotypes. Women can't drive. You think it's true? He's laughing. I think he thinks it's true.
I think everybody is guilty of it nowadays. I always laugh because every time I've been in a car accident, it's been with a woman hitting me.
That's funny.
All except for one. One of them was an old man. But still, I think nowadays it's just people are so far from being self-aware of their surroundings. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a bad driver.
Well, people are on their phone while smoking cigarettes, changing their pants, doing their hair, putting on their makeup while shaving their face, and eating 2 cheeseburgers. I've seen people eat soup with a spoon while driving. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Pasta out of takeout dishes. Right. You twirl it a fork while holding the container. How the hell are you steering? You're going 85 miles an hour, asshole.
But
a task.
But yeah, a lot of guys I know drive with their knees. They don't even use their hands.
I used to be able to do that in older cars. In newer cars, it's much more difficult.
Yeah.
I think they redesigned them on purpose.
Probably.
Just like lighters and pill bottles and everything else. We got to make this idiot-proof.
Well, I mean, that's the sad state of affairs, but there's usually a reason behind it.
Have you ever seen anything on, like, that new thing, the Google car that drives itself?
Oh, yeah.
That is a scary-ass concept to me. Like, I saw a video of a guy sitting in the back seat reading the newspaper while the car is driving itself. The whole time I can't sit in the passenger seat with most people on a highway because I'm, like, touching that imaginary brake all the time. Like, God, you're going to fucking kill us and I can't control it.
Well, when I was younger, I was so afraid of driving, though. I legitimately thought that was the only way I was going to be allowed to have a car, is if I could get one of those ones with it piloted itself. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to get a license.
The more I think about it, it's a really good idea because there are a lot of people out there that are so damn dangerous. Mm-hmm. We could easily make cars that stop themselves from getting into collisions, that slow down when you're getting too close to another vehicle.
Well, I had a rental car because remember that whole shebang with the car dealership inadvertently sold my car to someone else?
They gave you the wrong title.
Yeah, they gave someone the title to my car I had sitting at my house, but that's another story. I'll go into that some other episode. But long story short of it, I had a rental car that they had to pay for. And the rental car was really sweet. And it had and it would beep and stuff. And it scared the shit out of me because I was backing out of the driveway and I didn't know why it started beeping. I just slammed on the brakes and looking around. It was alerting me that there were garbage cans behind me. I knew they were there. I was angling around them slowly. But yeah, it was amazing. And it would do the same thing on the sides too. It had these really cool safety features, which I could never afford to have in real life. It was just because it was a rental. Right, yeah, once they become common. Maybe.
Once something better comes along and this is a garbage technology, then I'll be able to afford it.
Exactly. Yeah, just like my MP3 player. Now I can afford them when they're $9. Nice.
There you go.
But yeah, it's a really neat safety feature, but and I think it's great for parents and anybody else really that drives, but driving is a scary thing and people don't give it the respect it deserves. You can kill people.
That's a really big one right there. Nobody gives it to. Nobody thinks about it. The fact that you are piloting around a 2,000-pound missile that is capable of killing on impact any time, even at like 10 miles an hour.
Right.
And people are just driving like pricks all the time, not
right.
paying it. That's why it drives me nuts when I know people are driving drunk or smoking pot while they're driving.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you are a fucking retard.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know. All those people I know say they drive better. You're like, no, man, I drive better.
It's probably true for... we ought to have an abilities test. Rather than an intoxication test, when the police pull you over, they should try and test your abilities, your reaction times to things. Not necessarily pulling guns and tasers on you.
Oh, good God,
but just to see, are you capable of piloting this vehicle while right now, this particular state of mind that you're in? Because even if you're just upset, if you've had a death in the family,
right.
your girlfriend or boyfriend just broke up with you, your pet died, anything, emotional states can mess up the way people drive.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you see people when they're fighting, you can tell they're in a fight on the phone, and they'll be on the phone. You can see from their face that they're like screeching at the phone, that they start jerking the wheel back and forth, going from lane to lane, and they drive like crazy assholes. And you can just tell they're pissed off at somebody, and they have to drive like dicks. And nobody else around is even the person they're mad at. They can't wait to fight till they're home.
Right.
Whatever the hell it is, they can't even pull over.
Cell phones crack me up in that way. I mean, it went so fast from only rich people and drug dealers having them to everybody having them.
Right.
To everybody having them and thinking they're a necessity in life and that you can't deal with life without it.
Right.
I actually had somebody bitching at me one time. "You never get a hold of you. What's the point of having a cell phone if you don't take it everywhere you go?" And I'm like, I take it whenever I think I might need it.
Right.
But I don't need to talk on the phone 24/7. You don't have to know where I am all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does.
Well, and if you think about it, because everybody says, well, what about an emergency? When's the last time you used your phone for an actual emergency?
Right. Well, that was the whole argument there, too. What if there's an emergency and I had to get a hold of you? I'm like, if it's a real emergency, it'll probably still be one when I get the voicemail.
Right.
And if it's not by the time I get the voicemail, then it really wasn't an emergency to begin with, and you're wasting your breath.
Exactly. But I've had people, especially, I guess, because I'm female, they feel that I should be obligated to carry my phone around because I could be driving across town and someone attempt to rape me, I guess. But having the phone there is really not going to make a difference in that kind of situation.
Mr. Rapist, you wait a second. I'm calling my friends.
Exactly. But yeah, I leave my phone behind all the time because I just don't like to hear the damn thing ring. I leave my ringer off for days because I don't care.
I almost never turn my ringer on.
Well, it is my only phone, and so will turn it on periodically to see if anybody wants to call me. And people get so pissed off because like 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 12 days will go by before I get hold of somebody. Well, goddamn, I don't look at my phone all the time. I don't care if somebody calls. If it's really an emergency, call my mom. She'll get a hold of me somehow. She knows where I live. And the thing is, most people don't even know where I live because I don't want people stopping by. Because it's an emergency. We're on our way to the beach. Well, why don't you go fuck yourself?
That's not an emergency.
That's not an emergency. You don't come to my house and invite me to the beach. But for real, I think people should have decency to, ask before they come by to your house.
It cracks me up, like people that get in fights. Oh, you didn't return my text message. It hasn't even been 100 years.
Right.
Since sometimes you wouldn't see friends or family for 20 years. And if you wrote them a letter, it would take 5 to 6 days to get there. And then you would have to wait until they had time to write you back, and then another 5 to 6 days after that before you get a response. Big fucking deal. Just because you can instantly communicate with somebody doesn't mean you have to all the time.
Well, it hasn't been that long since, the head of the household would sit and have people come calling once a week. Their day would be on Wednesdays or whatever. People would come by, leave their business card. You didn't even have to interact with people back then. They just leave the business card. Oh, well, I called upon you. You come call upon me next Thursday. It was the weirdest interaction ever. But it's not that different from a text, really. And I hate texting. I hate it.
We just got texting not even 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because we got to a point we had to switch cell phone companies, couldn't stand paying the price of one of them charging us. And the only phones available were the ones that had text. And getting the talk and text plan was actually cheaper than just the talk plan that we had before. Mm-hmm. So we went ahead and did it. And honestly, I text with maybe 4 or 5 people. You're one of them.
Right. Yeah. And it's just about what time are we doing the show? Blah, blah, blah.
I don't have enough to actually necessitate a phone call, but you can respond to this in your own due course of time.
Well, and that's the thing is that, if it's not enough to constitute making a call, then that's cool. Shoot a short text. A text shouldn't take, 30 or 40 texts to get your point across. If you're having to type multiple pages, then chances are something you should say on the phone. It's too fucking much.
I did that too the other day. I didn't even realize I was trying to say something, and by the time I hit send, it's like send 5 messages. I'm like, oh, fine, fuck it.
Right. Well, and see, that's the thing is, once in a while you'll find yourself like using extra words or whatever to get your point across, and that's a once in a blue moon thing. But I know people that will spend 2 hours sending texts to you to explain a fight they had with their boyfriend or whatever. It's like, I don't care. I don't care about your boyfriend. I don't even know who it is.
If it takes you that long to explain the fight, maybe you should just break up with it.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I have an idea. Why don't you call? Or people that get mad and say, well, why were you being such an asshole on my text? What are you talking about? I put a smiley face so you knew I was joking.
Yeah.
I put LOL.
I wasn't really laughing out loud, but I said it to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm. But people think they can't catch tone.
Well, yeah, you lose inflection completely with emails and text and all that. You need to have conversations with people from time to time.
Yeah.
And if all of your interactions are just in text form, maybe they're not worth communicating with.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I can totally understand like the younger folks, the high school and college kids texting back and forth because it does seem more convenient for them. But I'm a little bit older. You're a little bit older. I'm not like old, but I like to actually have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Like even if we're just setting up plans, like, hey, do you want to go to a restaurant? I like to actually just wrap it all up at one time, have a quick conversation. We'll all talk on the phone, take 30 seconds, it's done. So you don't text back and forth for an hour, trying to figure out what time are you going, what time do you get off. You could have had the whole damn thing done and been done with it. It's ridiculous. I don't know. And now my mom's finally gotten into texting.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
My dad texts all the damn time.
Yeah. That's funny.
He took it in. Yeah, he got himself into technology really well, but he understands so much more than I do, which cracks me up because I remember like back in '83 when he bought us an Atari, and I had to help him figure out how to put it together. I'm like 5 years old, laying on the ground looking at wires and connectors on the TV in the back of this thing, and I'm like, I think we can do this.
It's involving playing a game. I'll figure it out, Dad. Hold on.
Now he's like into website design and stuff.
That's
like,
cool.
How do you figure this shit out?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, see, like, my mom can fix a car engine, but she can't set the timer on a VCR. So, yeah, she really could. She could go out there and make a car start when nobody else could. I don't know how she does it. She involves a clothespin sometimes. But, she cannot set the timer. She can't set the timer on the thing to make coffee pot. I have no idea how to do it either, though. I can't blame her. But at least I can turn the TV on and stuff.
Oh, there you go. That's all you really need. And you don't even need that. Go out and walk.
Read a book.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, just read a book.
I'm such a whore for reading books. I love reading.
You do. You flood around the hell with your literature. You do.
I don't care if it's fiction, non-fiction, it's a historical reference. I don't care.
I'm so excited. I went to the bookstore yesterday to buy some books for a vacation that's coming up. And I have already started reading them because I couldn't help myself. Like, I'm like drooling about it. And I'm so embarrassed to say 3 of them are paranormal romances, and I'm so excited about them. The one author, I've read all of her books. There's like 30 of them, and these are the last 2 I hadn't read. And I'm like, oh! And one of them I found in the bargain bin. Nice. You don't even know how.
Somebody you want to
the author's for that one is Sherilyn Kenyon. And she kicks them. No one has, but she writes a book series called the Dark Hunter series. That's the only one of her series that I particularly enjoy, but it's a fucking shit. I love it.
I think I've heard that title before.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I'm advocating them making role-playing games out of it, like LARPs. I think it would be awesome. I think people would love to make, like, LARPs. But you can't tell them it's from a paranormal romance. They won't want to do it then. But the characters are so well developed.
You guys want to get together and play Twilight?
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like there's demons and it's crazy. There's gods and goddesses battling all the time, and there's some awesome, wicked stuff. And then there's another author who writes paranormal romance novels about time travel in Scotland, and her name is I think Karen Moaning, huh? Uh-huh. But yeah, that's one of the ones I got. And then I got another one that was about how to get a sugar daddy. And it was like a 35-year-old lady's memoir about how she got a sugar daddy, and I was like, well, that looks right up my alley. And then the last
about my age.
Right, exactly. And she has a psychology degree too. What? So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can't work something out. I mean, no, I'm just reading it for knowledge. And then the last one,
reference material.
Right. Then the last one's about the disappearance of Roanoke colony. So I'm like nice and diverse.
Nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Roanoke book earlier, and I'm trying to think what was written on the tree. Do you remember there was something?
It was the name of the nearby Indian tribe, Native American tribe.
Do you remember what it was? Croatoan? Yeah, Croatoan.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it. I remember now. But for some reason, when you were telling me earlier, it started sticking in my head.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts when I know a piece of information, but I just can't bring it out right now.
It's hiding.
Yeah. Somewhere in this giant Google file of crap that I've got going on.
Wiki brain.
I heard about there's some people working on software where you can download essentially a person's consciousness into a computer.
Oh, that's
to
scary.
keep them going after they die. Basically, like a program where you can go and ask long lost grandma and grandpa questions and get an answer from their perspective.
Wow.
And I thought that would be so neat if I could just download all the shit in my brain and then I could reference it myself when I want information.
Right, but that's kind of scary. I can see how that would be definitely comforting for some people, but the idea that technology could do that is kind of scary.
A little bit.
Like, actually be able to map out your consciousness is fucked up. I'd stay the hell out of my brain. That's the last place I have to myself.
You think Skynet was scary? Wait until they can invade your mind, too.
I'm telling you, yeah, it's like, in my mind, I'm going through all kinds of, like, Hollywood movies that I saw about that. I'm like, no, that wasn't a good idea. Don't they know how that happened? What transpired? It's not good.
Well, I go back and forth on that between thinking, yeah, this technology's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also thinking, haven't you guys ever read any sci-fi and seen how it all goes bad?
Right.
No matter how well-intentioned you are, some cunt is going to get their hands on it.
Well, yeah, I was watching a zombie flick the other day, and then it reminded me of the movie I Am Legend with Will Smith in it.
Oh, I love that.
And I know, God, it tears me up every time I try to watch it. It's such a good movie, but it makes me so upset. But every zombie movie that I've seen, they never really explain where zombies come from. And I'm like, well, how come they never do? And then that one they did. It was about they were trying to create this cure for cancer and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that was some fucked up shit. But if they had not been trying to work on a cure for cancer, then the zombies would have never occurred in that movie. So it's like the best intentions. The road to hell sometimes is paved in the best intentions.
Very true.
You can cause the worst things to happen. Just like with locally when they brought in those beetles to help pollinate the corn that look like ladybugs, those fake ladybugs.
Well, actually, didn't they bring those into like Oklahoma or something?
Purdue University sponsored it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember the year it happened. I was working landscaping, and we were outside, and one day we just saw this massive wall of black.
Yeah.
And it took like 15, 20 minutes before the whole thing passed over us, but it was just these little orange ladybug-looking things everywhere. And ever since that day, I've never seen a red ladybug again.
Thinking about it, I can't recall seeing a real, actual red ladybug in years.
Yeah.
But yeah, those little orange ones, they bite, they stink, they're poisonous, no bugs, bugs or birds will eat them. So that was a hell of a good idea. Thanks for that one. And just like everything else, they always bring in a species trying to eliminate another species, and then they're like, oh, well, there's nothing here to eat that one. Well, no shit. It came from the other side of the fucking planet. Leave it there.
It happens every time we try to intervene with nature. We mess it up. We don't understand how it works. We need to just leave it alone.
Mm-hmm. Well, just like with plants, too, though. There's little purple flowers all along the highways around here, and those plants are not indigenous. And they actually choke out the life that should be growing.
African violets?
Yes.
Yes.
And they choke out the I wasn't sure if you know which ones I was talking about, so I didn't bother saying the name. But yeah. Oh, the duh, yeah. Well, yeah, I get that, but that's just my gender role thing that most guys don't know things about flowers. So I just went right past it and just assumed you didn't.
I know a little bit about damn near everything.
It's true, you really do. But yeah, even knowing you like I do, I still forget the things that you know and just use my stereotypes. But yeah, those African violets are not supposed to be here.
No,
and they choke out the other things trying to grow.
And even when you have all the weed killers possible and you're well-trained professional, because I worked in lawn maintenance before, using different chemical applications for a giant corporation that I can't stand. Those things are incredibly difficult to kill.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible. You have to hit them just right time of year when they're in their feeding cycle. Otherwise, they won't take in anything that kills them.
Right.
And even if you do manage to get part of it killed off, they've got such a long, fibrous root system going underneath the ground. One little piece of it survives, the plant spreads out all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's so many, like Creeping Charlie's another weed that is just prolific and it's damn near impossible to get rid of the damn thing once you get it.
Yeah. It's got the exact same type of root.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
I just let the shit go in my yard. I don't care. It's a cool little ecosystem. I can look at all the different flowers and the pretty things and
I tell you, yeah, I've got these really neat wildflowers that aren't even really flowers. The leaves at the top just turn purplish red as if they were a flower, but they're really just leaves. I don't know what they are, but some kind of woods flower, wild woods flower. But I don't know what they are, but I think they're gorgeous. And my neighbors hate me because I let my grass grow really tall to the point where you got to mow it 3 or 4 times to get it back down to the normal size.
I think if you're big into having useless green grass all over your yard and you're pissed off at that neighbor that has dandelions, it's a pretty safe bet they're a friend of ours.
Right, exactly, yeah. Well, and yeah, I argue with them. I'm not trying to, put carbons out there into the world because the grass needs mowed. Just relax a little. But the one guy lives across the street. He mows every day, literally every day. I've never seen anything like it.
I really like the fact that rather than growing grass, more people are switching over to growing huge gardens.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
That's exactly what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
Green grass, it serves no purpose other than to have a cushion under your feet when you're walking.
It holds the dirt down.
It holds the dirt down, yeah. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really produce that much oxygen. Mm-hmm. It's not even indigenous to this planet, which is kind of funny. It's an alien species from a different planet.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, it's only been here for like 250,000 years.
Wow.
And we can prove that it never existed here prior to that.
That's kind of spooky.
Isn't that crazy?
That is spooky.
And now we're being taken over by aliens. They just don't look like us.
Right.
And we feed them and water them.
We pet them, cut their hair. Yeah, that is freaky. Weird. But yeah, well, having a garden is a great thing. But like in my backyard, the other neighbor was so kind of polluted to the point where I don't feel safe growing food there.
Yeah.
So you've got to, I have to grow it in raised beds to kind of eliminate as much as I can the fertilizer that was already placed there. But I think it's a wonderful thing, especially when people are doing it in their front yards. They're not trying to hide it in the backyard like it's a dirty secret, like their laundry. I'm sorry, I'm growing my own food back here because I'm poor.
Yeah, that's not even the issue.
No, it's not. They just want food.
I want to know
healthy.
where my food came from. That's why I'm growing it here.
Yeah, I want to make sure that it hasn't been genetically modified. I want to make sure that it's not, just bizarre poisons fertilized to hell to make it live.
Food.
Yeah, Frankenfood bullshit. I just want to eat a piece of corn and know it's a piece of corn. Like, that it's naturally grown. That no one had to shit on it to make it grow. I don't want that.
That's a good point. And I love the way that no one had to shit on it. But really, when you look, we are so far off of our original topic, but I don't care.
I know. Well, but not, in my mind, not really. Gender issues.
Yeah. It's all connected. Everything's connected.
Yeah.
One thing you should definitely read, Confronting Collapse by Michael Rupert was such a great book, and he talks about the fertilization process and how we basically turned most of the ground into a chemical sponge where it cannot grow anything unless we dump certain kinds of petroleum products on it.
It's true.
As fertilizer.
Right.
Yeah, most animal waste that we would have used for fertilizer isn't as effective as this chemical shit. Mm-hmm. And the ground isn't taking in regular fertilizer anymore because we're using all these GMOs that need chemical shit.
Right. Well, it's you have to have the one to go with the other, and regular food won't grow anymore. They poison the earth so it won't.
Well, there you go. We're right back to our topic because it's a manly thought that we can control nature and make it do what we want.
Yeah. What's up with that? Yeah, I don't know very many females that think that they can actually control the functionings of nature.
I don't know. I know a lot of men that think they can. Yeah. And so far, every time we try, we're wrong.
Well, but in my mind, it's kind of like those same guys that get mad at their woman for giving birth to the wrong gender baby. It's like, really?
The sperm's the one that determined it, jackass.
Right? You gave birth to a daughter. Off with your head. What the fuck are you thinking, you
Put her back where she came from. Well, Papa, that's going to hurt you a lot.
Right? Crazy. I don't know.
Everything's crazy. But I like talking about it.
Yeah. The one more book I like to suggest reading is called Possum Living. I don't remember the name of the author, but it was written in the 70s. And it's about how to live with your own means, grow your own food, both indoors and outdoors, how to raise like small livestock like chickens and rabbits, and to live on virtually nothing, no money. Like you could live on $200 a year.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It's like some stuff is not quite keeping with the times. So you'd have to adjust it for modern day living, but it's really interesting. It's called Possum Living. You should check it out. That's
cool. There's a lot of good homesteading type books out there that teach you how to build small, energy efficient homes. Mm-hmm. Really cheap. All you need to do is buy a piece of land and stick them on there. Mm-hmm. And really, once I've got the money to do it, I want to start building small things like that and making eco-friendly housing, and I want to make videos of it. So we need sponsors. In other words, you need to tell people that the show exists and get more of them listening.
Right. And give us some hints on what you want.
I'll teach you how to make really neat shit.
It is going to be awesome. It is.
I'll show you. MacGyver was a dumbass compared to me.
It's true. I just watched him fix a bunch of office equipment. It was amazing. I was enthralled by his manliness.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even have to punch anybody to prove it.
That's right. But yeah, male ingenuity. It's nice.
Yeah. But it was created by a female.
It's true.
There's a balance.
There always is. All right. Well, I guess I'm wrapping it up.
I'm done talking.
All right. We're wrapping it up for the day.
All right. Goodbye, Internet folks.
All right. You have a good day.